Good evening. My name is Joshua Gleish. I'm the Associate Director of Administration for Columbia's ERM program, and I'd like to welcome you to this evening's event, the Spring 2024 Featured Alumni Series. If you have any questions throughout the entirety of the event, please feel free to post your questions using the Q&A function at the bottom of your screen. Before we begin, I'd like to make you aware of some of the program's upcoming events. We have the ERM seminar series that run every Friday and Saturday morning. That includes coding for risk management, applied coding for risk management, build it in a day, tools for risk management, which is new this semester, the IQRM warm-ups, which is also new this semester, and the IQRM and Introduction to Finance seminars. We are also hosting a Land Your First Job workshop mid-February, a cyber risk quantification panel happening in March, and then to round out our events in April, we have an impact of AI on cybersecurity and a climate risk panel. And now I'd like to introduce you to this evening's moderator, Carly Alba.
Thank you, Joshua. Welcome, everybody. I'm really excited to be the moderator for today's Spring 2024 Alumni panel. Just a brief introduction of myself. My name is Carly Alba. I am currently in my last semester as a part-time student in the Masters of ERM program here at Columbia. I received my BA from UC Berkeley and my JD from Rutgers School of Law. I live in Los Angeles, and I am the Vice President of Claims and Risk Management for a large privately owned insurance brokerage firm. Today, we have a very distinguished panel of alums that I'm really honored to introduce, and let's start off with Snow Bai.
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Snow Bai. I graduated from Columbia's ERM program in spring 2020 with a top 5 student award. And I started my career in financial accounting after completing my master's degree in accounting from University of Missouri, Kansas City. I had an opportunity to work for a number of industries. And in 2012, I transitioned into the insurance sector, where I have been working since then. And currently, I'm working as a financial analysis manager for AIG's capital management group, where my role focuses on the required capital of regulators, making capital projections and forecast and analysis, and working on a number of capital initiatives and projects. And in addition to my full-time role at AIG, I'm also currently working as a part-time lecturer for the program's capstone course. So this is my third year teaching this class. I'm very excited to be part of the panel, and thanks so much for having me. And let me hand it over to other panelists. Thank you.
Thanks, Snow. It's so great to have another insurance professional on the call. Leanne.
Hey, hi, can you see me? Oh, perfect. So, hey everyone, welcome to today's panelist discussion. I'm Leanne Dsouza. I graduated from the program in fall 2020. Currently, I work at Morgan Stanley in the operational risk department with a focus on fraud risk. I previously worked in the consulting industry, mainly for the big 4 companies focused on risk assessments and external audit. As part of my internship at Columbia, I got an opportunity to do a great internship at First Citizens Bank, also focused on their ERM and ORM programs. So that was a good experience too. Carly.
Terrific. Thank you so much, Leanne. And last up, Jason Lee.
Hello, everyone. I'm Jason, so I'm graduating in December 2022. So currently I'm the second year corporate strategy associate at Liquidity Management. So we are sort of like internal consultant, like serving all the need for senior management and provide the material to executive management and also committees. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Terrific. Thanks so much, Jason. And just a reminder, we've saved the last 10 minutes of the presentation to take some Q&A from the audience. So please feel free to put your questions or comments into the panel, and we'll bring this up at the end. And without further ado, let's jump right in. So for each of you, and we'll start with Leanne, what is something that surprised you about Columbia's ERM program or ERM in general?
So just to go to your first part of the question, the ERM program, I think the ERM, the biggest, maybe, I wouldn't say surprise, but I think the biggest takeaway for me from this program was the fact that we had a lot of professors from the industry. They're mainly people who work in risk in different industries, whether it's finance, insurance, or whatever you're interested in. And just them being able to bring their expertise, their day job expertise to a classroom and share it with people who probably are looking forward to working in the same industries or working with folks like them is really helpful. I think the biggest surprise, maybe, yes, it was how helpful they were, really, to help us. You give us the right advice on how to prepare ourselves to be job ready. So I think that was the biggest takeaway, surprise, you could say, for with respect to the program. And then ERM in general, I would say that just the way the program is set up is very focused on making sure that the students are kind of prepared for what to expect in the real world, if you will. So I think those two things were probably the biggest surprises / takeaways for me.
That's awesome. Yeah, I've had a similar experience with really the professors actively working in the field, and I think it's a real differentiator from other programs.
Yeah.
Snow, what about you? Something that surprised you about the program or ERM in general?
Yeah, so when I first started the program, actually, I was prepared for a curriculum that centered around risk and the risk management. And I was surprised to find out that the program, in addition to offer a wide selection of courses that that covers on every aspect of risk and risk management, it also offers some courses that are not directly related to risks, such as managing human behaviors, such as strategic communications. So until after I completing these kind of courses, I fully and completely realized the importance and the values of them being included in our ERM curriculum, as because they are so important and so helpful to improve our students as well as myself, the soft skills, which includes communication skills, presentation skills, interpersonal skills, as well as our leadership skills on managing and engaging and motivating the people we work with. And these skills to me are very extremely valuable to be able to communicate effectively and professionally and strategically. So that's kind of a surprise and also a benefit. Thank you.
Yeah, definitely. And we shout out to Dr. Patty, who teaches that managing human behavior class. Really, really good stuff there. Jason, what about you?
So I also want to echo, like, we have really good professor here. They bring all the real life experience, especially like all the core settings really practical, and they bring all the real value into into the real life, and they can help us to prepare to make an impact on the day one. And also, like, you also have really engaged class structure and practical methodology. So engaging class structure, also focus on practicality. That's all the key, help you to prepare for success. And both in the interview, also in the professional role, and those elements in the program are really crucial. And also, I also want to highlight the club activities and also explore the diversified topics. So we have really active club activities throughout the programs, and also like there are opportunity to explore different topics for risk management. People also come from different backgrounds and have different experience, and those are really valuable experience here.
Yeah, absolutely. And working in so many groups, you get to work with a lot of different co-workers, co-students. Moving on to the next question, and something I love every time we do these featured alumni series is, I want to know what was your favorite class? Or sorry, what courses did you find most rewarding and most applicable to your current role, and why? And we'll start with Jason.
So I do feel like the value-based ERM is pretty interesting. Like it does give us a holistic view of what risk management is. You will learn the understanding the comprehensive like risk management, and also you will learn the risk in the holistic view and understand how the things interact with each other. And I also want to highlight the financial risk management, like that course. So it does have a variety of risk that cover in that course, like credit risk, market risk, liquidity risk, like interconnectedness risk. And that's really important to understand. Like it does give us the hands-on experience and the hands-on approach to solve different things. And that can help us to get ready for the job and making impact on the day one. And also learning from the professional who are already like actively involved in the industry. That's another benefits and another like a practical insight we can apply. And I will also say like the FRM really help us to learn the terminology and language, like to understand like how people talk in the industry, understand the jargons, understand different terms, different abbreviations. Those actually prepare you and get ready. And lastly, I do want to highlight like there are a lot of case studies throughout the course. Like we'll learn the real world example and help to practice all the experience, and you'll present to the peers and in front of the class. Those are really helpful. And a lot of people are saying like, I don't really have the experience to find a job. Like I don't really have that backgrounds. Like those class actually help me to prepare my interview process and also enhance my backgrounds, either through technical backgrounds or like even the behavior. Those are also really helpful as well.
Yeah, awesome. And what about you, Leanne?
So for me, I think, and Jason mentioned a whole host of really lovely courses, so definitely second that. But for me, I think the biggest course that kind of really added value for me was the operational risk course. It directly translated to my choice and kind of focusing on jobs in the operational risk area. I just found that the course is it's not very quantitative, it's more qualitative and a lot of like analysis on the risk manager's part. So I think that unstructuredness of it all kind of really interested me. Just generally, if you think about operational risk, it's quite a an uncharted territory. Traditional risk, quantitative risk is generally more focused on by most institutions. It gets a lot of regulator attention as well, so that's kind of expected. But then with operational risk and strategic risk now, I think there seems to be a pivot of focus for regulators and in these areas. So I think for me, the operational risk course, I think I will call out as being a great value add, just kind of introducing me to that world. Also the strategic risk course, again, less quantitative, but I absolutely enjoyed studying that course. We started every class analyzing one news story, which really made everyone kind of think a little more about different financial or insurance or whatever was happening in those industries based on that news story, and kind of come with your thoughts on how that could have been mitigated, or how they could remedy or solution that. So again, not only kind of studying the course matter, but also being able to translate that into language that makes sense to an organization. When you're interviewing, especially, you want to be able to speak their language. And I think these courses were really helpful in not only understanding those risk areas, but also being able to speak to them intelligently and communicating your idea as well. So I'll call those two out.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love the real world examples. One of the classes that I really loved was company failures. And every day we started with the class that with a case where a company didn't hit the mark, and being able to put into practice and real world examples all of the concepts that we were learning is really ideal for giving us that practical application. And then, of course, I mentioned managing human behavior as being one of my favorite classes. And then for me, if anybody has time, I highly suggest taking cognitive bias. I took it with Burkhart, and it literally has been applicable to every other class that I've taken. Knowing what those biases are, recognizing them when you're thinking about the risk frameworks that you're approaching. So moving on to the next question, how did your professional profile and value proposition as a risk practitioner change after completing during the ERM program? And we'll start off with Jason.
For me, like I'm pretty much like in JP Morgan, this is pretty much my first job out of college. But I do want to highlight a couple of things. Like throughout the program, I do broaden my knowledge base, like especially application in liquidity management. Like my role basically require a fundamental framework to understand what is risk and how the risks interact with other risk. So it's like it does help me to understand a broader aspect, like especially the interconnected risk between liquidity risk, capital risk, and even like interest risk and other stuff do got like a holistic view of what risk management is. And another thing is strategic thinking. So we can be able to align the organization goal along with our group goal. So like those strategic approach does help me to like navigate my careers and broaden my understanding of entire organization as a whole. So this particular in financial institution, where risk management is not only just avoiding the risk, but also making informed decision and a contribution to the bank overall strategic objective.
Yeah, absolutely. Snow, what about you? How did this change your risk profile?
Yeah, I'd love to discuss this topic. So without questions, completion of the ERM program definitely has been a game changer for my career, and it's greatly enhanced my professional profile. So it definitely like is a shining addition to my education background, but it is more than just another line on my resume or on my LinkedIn profile. Coming from my background in financial accounting, I actually have stepped up my game by integrating my skills in financial accounting and combined with my newly acquired competencies in risk management. And these two fields actually are not just related. These two fields can enhance and complement each other. So the integration or the synergy has broadened my skill set and allows me to provide and offer a more comprehensive perspectives and insights, and thereby consolidating what I bring to the table. And also, most importantly, I think the ERM program at Columbia is a valuable platform for us, for students to learn and improve and to network with high-value risk professionals. And through connecting with professors, classmates, alumni, and our faculty and staff members, this has greatly enriched my professional network.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've had the same experience, really growing that professional network. And what about you, Leanne?
So I think for me, just assessing the program as a whole, and I think we kind of all of us kind of touched on it a little bit. It's a very well kind of crafted, wholesome program, not just focusing on quantitative risks or qualitative risks, but also with courses that kind of help you build yourself up as a professional. You have the strategic communications course and some of the ones that you mentioned about cognitive bias and things like that. So I think it's a very well designed, a very wholesome program, and make sure that during the period that you're kind of devoting your time and energy to it, that it's really making sure that you're learning from not just like the theory, giving you opportunities to put those learnings into kind of practice with group projects and presentations. And also, at the end of the day, I think just having that Columbia brand on your resume, I think it is a game changer. I'm not saying it's the only factor, but it does have a big impact. And I think that's a valuable, kind of recognition to the program. And obviously, because it's associated with Columbia, there is a standard that's expected. And I think the program kind of tries to make sure that everyone that goes through is kind of, bettered for it and is improving in a way that is really kind of representative of the Columbia standard. So, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. The Columbia, that name really means something, and I think it brings in the caliber of professor and student alike. So moving on to that, navigating your transition from your prior role to your current role, and for you, Jason, coming into the risk field. So we'll start with Snow. How did you navigate that transition from your previous role to your current role?
So to transition from my prior role working as financial accounting manager to my current role of working as financial analysis manager, it sounds like it hasn't changed too much, but the job responsibility actually changed significantly. And in order to make the transition, I have to change my way of looking at things, from looking at past historical data to a more forward-looking perspective, and from look at detailed and transactional level details to a broader and more strategic level. So I think the solid education from Columbia has helped me make the transition, as well as attending various workshops, seminars, and also through working and chatting with different risk professionals, also helped me change my perspective. And also, in order to perform my current role, I have to enhance certain of my technical skills, such as data analytical skills and model building skills, as we have to maintain and sometimes update and build capital models. So through taking relevant courses at the program, such as ERM modeling, value-based ERM, as well as coding for risk management, and also by attending some of the workshops, the seminars that Josh just mentioned at the beginning of our discussion. I think all of these are very helpful, and they help me enhance my capabilities in these skills. And in addition, I also want to highlight, I also took advantage of some Columbia's e-resources, such as downloading ebooks, and to study on my own pace to further refine my skills. And also, in addition to those technical skills and my perspective, I also need to improve my communication skills in order to contribute more effectively to my current role. So through numerous, presentations, group projects, and also through my role working as teaching associate, working on a few different risk ERM courses, and also through my current role teaching the capstone course, all of this experience has helped me improve my communication skills and more importantly, help me boost my confidence to be more comfortable to speak up and to share my ideas. So these are my 2 cents.
That's fantastic. You know, I 100% agree with those workshops being so helpful. I don't come from a finance background, and so I found the intro to finance to be really helpful amongst others. So love those suggestions. What about you, Leanne?
So I think for with respect to my prior role and kind of how I transitioned to the current one, I come from an external audit background, so there was maybe a little bit of risk element in the work that I did. I think that's kind of where I found that I really liked the risk space and wanted to kind of explore a little more and what I could do there. That's where this program really kind of helped with, it's again, as I mentioned, it's a very well structured program, and that kind of helped me make that decision to pursue risk as as like a career path, if you will. I think what was super helpful for me to transition into a risk role through the program was kind of learning how to speak the lingo, like speak the right language. I think when you go for interviews, especially, a lot of the assessment is based on how well you can communicate your thoughts, and if you can kind of speak the language and you understand the jargon. In that respect, I think the course is across the program help really introduce everybody from any background to kind of familiarize yourself with what the risk terminology is, how to communicate it effectively. And I think, yes, being able to speak the language is important, but also being able to kind of think like a risk manager is crucial. A lot of the program projects will help most of the students kind of do that. And then being able to communicate your ideas, your solutions to those risk problems is super essential. So I think that's where this program helped me a lot, just kind of being able to understand what was expected in the industry as I transitioned, and then being able to kind of give me the resources to be the best risk professional I could be. I think one thing that I would maybe call out, or for the folks listening really, is to be really smart with your course selections. If you have an idea, and maybe not everybody does, but if you have an idea of the direction you want to go with your career, make conscious choices of the courses that you want to take and that areas that you want to explore. That really helps when you're out in the industry in a specific niche area, perhaps. The courses that you take as part of the program will really kind of help you speak the right language, as I said, and think like the risk manager that they're expecting you to be. So yeah, just a tip there.
That's great. And the same question for Jason, and actually we had a question from the audience that is along these same lines. So the question for you, Jason, is what is your career advice to the new grads who want to land a job in liquidity risk management, which is related to this question of, how did you navigate that transition?
Yes, actually, I saw that question as well. I was going to get back to that as well. So quite frankly, like this isn't my first job out of school. So like I come from like a finance background. I did math finance in the undergrad, and I do not have any like full-time experience. Later on, I joined these master programs. I do want to highlight the design thinking process. So it's about like making mistake, like take calculated risk, and also explore different things. To be honest, in the beginning, even like I joined the programs, we had to like I don't know like which avenue to take. So in the first semester, I remember we had to prepare for the fall recruiting, and later on I had to navigate like what is a career path I want to choose and all the things like that. So to be honest, I don't know in the beginning. So I thought about like consulting role. So I take a look at the premier case study. So I kind of like feel like maybe I can do a case study there. Like it's sort of like what consultant does, right? So we take a look at the case study, we build a rule engine and proactively monitor all the trading data there. And through all that experience, I kind of interested in the PM because PM basically is the bridge between tech and also front office and the clients and so on. And there are like huge trend in automation. So I had an internship at a fintech company, but I don't like it. It's like a lot of manual work. It's kind of boring and it's not really exciting. And I'm really interested in finance. Also, my background, I'm more into like finance. So later on, like I got a job at Fund of Funds. So like it is one of the financial service. They're serving all the family office. They have like 1.2 billion AUM. So it's good, but like I don't see myself for that role. Like I don't see myself in there for like next 5 years. It's like a lot of skills that's not really transferable, and I just don't like the daily task. I just feel like I'm more interested in like other stuff. And I started like searching again. So I did like a mini macro project, study about at the time it's all about like QE and all the things happening. So I did like a mini macro research project and I monitor all the market trends. Later on, I had this interview at JP Morgan. Like, I mean, at the time, the director is really interested in all the trends, and I landed this job at JP Morgan. And I do want to highlight, like, it's okay to make mistake. Like from a student background, like I want to go like 100%. I want to go like everything right. It's okay. Like we all learn from mistake and just be bold and try to explore different things. That's important. And also there are a lot of opportunity outside it, like we can be to leverage, and there are like a lot of things we can do in real life. A lot of people say, I don't know what to do. Like maybe just start like thinking about building a stock portfolio. Maybe just do a simulation online. There are a lot of tools like you can be able to find out, like maybe do a mini case. There are a lot of online, like there are a lot of YouTube video talk about like what's my day look like, and or just take a course. Like throughout the course, we have different classes to choose. Like even inside the ERM, we have like core classes, we have elective classes. You can be able to explore what are some important information or like what are some content that are really interesting to you. So those also can give a feedback and try to explore your passion. And this program definitely helped me a lot because I take a lot of classes. It kind of helped me to navigate and also narrow down like my interest. So I do want to mention there are a lot of information and a lot of like resources we have to offer. Just trying to be proactive and trying to explore different things. Eventually, like I mean, I find the opportunity I have right now.
Yeah, I love that, allowing yourself the grace to make mistakes, and that this is such a great place to do that. And I think that doing internships, such a great way to get a taste of something, taking different classes that are maybe outside of the areas that you were thinking you were going to be interested in. I think that that's great. And we've got so how do you, so what Columbia resources do you suggest that students take advantage of? And we'll start with you, Jason.
I do want to highlight like office hour and also our faculty members, like a lot of professional, like a lot of professors, they are actually like in the field for a long time and they tried out different roles and different positions. Just be proactive and trying to like think about like what their experience and why they do make that choice in the past. And they also know how like real like basically like on hand examples. And even though like even like some student like they want to understand different case study and different things, that they also have a lot of guidance on those resources. And another thing is like I found out that the club is really important. Like I hold a position, like a leadership position at Columbia Risk Management Club. So those actually help me to like develop different things. So you will not only like it's not only enhance my understanding of risk management in practical setting, but also help me to develop my leadership and organization skills. And also be in the leadership position enable me to collaborate closely with my peers, faculties, and even industry experts. Those are providing unique platforms for learning and professional growth. So like definitely there are a lot of resources, even in the library, like you can be able to like navigate like different database and researches. We have Bloomberg data source in the library. We have Peach Pro account. You can be able to access that for free. And those actually cost a lot of money if you're actually in the real life, in the professional setting. So like school already pay for those, like leverage those data, even like leverage our librarian. Like if you cannot find certain like research or papers, you can be able to go to school library and ask all the experts there. And those are really helpful. And also we have career design lab. So like I remember like I go there and revise my resume and prep all the interview, even just go through different things, like get actual feedbacks is also helpful as well. So definitely there are so many resources we can be leverage in this program.
Absolutely. And you had like the hit list there. That was awesome. What about you, Leanne?
So yeah, I think the office hours that were mentioned, I think that's a great opportunity to leverage. I think it's not just like, you know, to build your technical skills, but also it's an opportunity to really network in a smaller setting with your professor, with the TA, or even with your classmates who are able to join. So I definitely think kind of taking advantage of that is really helpful, especially if it's in an area where, you know, you're not as familiar. If you know, like you mentioned, like you didn't have a background in finance, so the intro to finance course is really helpful. Just leveraging office hours for that professor is a great opportunity to expand your, you know, your understanding on the subject. And I'm sure they're always happy to kind of recommend additional resources if that's interesting, if you kind of want to do a deep dive in any particular area. And that can also kind of help you make a decision on what you want to do in future semesters, the class choices you make, or where you end up in the industry after the course. Another couple of things maybe I'll mention is there's an ERM scholarship program. So that's something really worthwhile leveraging for students. Another is there's a top 5 student ERM that's ERM students that's announced I think every semester, which is also a great way to kind of, you know, get yourself recognized. I mean, of course, it kind of puts emphasis on academic excellence, which I think everybody wants to achieve, and that contributes to your GPA, which also is a great way for, you know, the way interviewers kind of sort through resumes. So I think those are wonderful resources to leverage. One thing I will call out that I myself actually did leverage was the resume feedback that the Career Design Lab provides. I think they're super, you know, they kind of know what the industry is looking for at that point in time. So it's really helpful to get their feedback on when you're kind of, you know, creating your resume and what you're focusing on and what kind of skills and past experiences you're highlighting. Also, I think they're more recently advertising a lot more about job opportunities that are available. So I think there's a newsletter or an email that you can subscribe to, and you get like those list of jobs or internships sent to you in an email. So if that's something that would be helpful for your job search, that's something to kind of add to your to-do list.
That's awesome. And just to add on to the office hours, going to office hours can be a little intimidating, especially when you have these industry leaders as your professors. And my advice to other students is just go. Even if you don't have anything specific you want to talk about, just break that ice, introduce yourself, and really take your time to get to know the professors and give yourself the opportunity to really learn a lot from them. And now I'll pass it to Snow. What resources do you suggest that students take advantage of?
I think you guys already covered everything that I wanted to recommend. So just to add on a few points that to connect with professor, I just want to remind all our students, you need to start this in your first semester. Don't wait until the last semester to realize, oh, you really need to connect with the professors. And just utilize the time before the class or the break between the within the class, and also the time after the class, and also utilize the office hour as you guys mentioned. And I also would recommend our students to reach out to our alumni through LinkedIn, find the connections that you have with the alumni. And you can ask for like insights about the company, about the position, about certain field like liquidity risk management. You can ask Station about what does liquidity risk management do, right? So some questions like that to help you to create connections. And I also would like to highlight the libraries, both the online and the libraries on campus. Like I discussed earlier that I also utilize the e-resources. You can download re-books. You can also check out the e-journals to keep up with the market to get insight into the risk management. So this are my recommendations.
Thank you so much. No, those are terrific recommendations. And just another plug for those free seminars. I did the Intro to Finance, and it definitely helped me gain that knowledge of what sounded like noise, and now I actually understand in terms of the finance jargon. So thank you guys all for that. So the next question is, what advice do you have on creating and maintaining meaningful professional networks? And we'll start off with Snow.
Yes. So to my advice on creating and maintaining effective professional relationship would be you have to go out, make yourself available to the seminars, to the webinars, to the workshops, and to social events that hosted by our ERM program. It has been, this is really good opportunity for you that school has created for you. And in addition, you need to identify that the person that you are really interested in, either in their background or in their career or in their personalities, right? And then engage with them, find the common interest and the common topics. The reason being is you want them to remember you when you are following up with them. And to maintain the meaningful professional relationship, I would think is very challenging. But LinkedIn can definitely help you. So you can keep up with your connections update. You can congratulate them on their career growth. You can congratulate them on their work anniversaries. You can also send holiday greetings to them to let them know that you are thinking of them. You are grateful for their insights they provided to you before. And through LinkedIn, you can also share some articles of, posts that you guys had similar topic. You guys discussed this similar topic before. But I think the most important is you have to offer help. Like you want to help them and show your value and add your value to the relationship. That's my suggestion.
Yeah, I love that. It's a two-way street. What are you bringing to the table to create that partnership with your network? Leanne, what about you? What advice do you have on networking and creating those meaningful, lasting relationships?
Yeah, sure. So I think one thing to remember is as part of the program, you are going to meet a lot of people. Every semester, every course you take, you are going to meet different professors, TAs, students in the class. It's an opportunity to every person that you meet is basically an opportunity to establish a meaningful relationship. In the end, it's about how much time and effort you can really invest in making those relationships meaningful. You don't just want to be in everybody's LinkedIn inboxes. Just be conscious of that. But definitely, I think it's about how much effort and time you put into making those relationships successful. And I think Snow mentioned a few really helpful tips on how to be, on the radar for someone. Also making sure that you're identifying people that, have things in common with you, like, if you're interested in the career path that they've taken, or you meet them at a seminar and you just click. Definitely make sure to kind of identify those types of people to kind of stay in touch with. You're not going to be able to stay in touch and maintain meaningful relationships with everybody you meet. So definitely be conscious of your time, their time, when you reach out to people, and definitely, make sure to be conscious about um, finding people who you can, who you can consider mentors through your career. I think that's a really effective way of maintaining a relationship long term. They needn't really be someone in your organization or someone who is literally in the same industry as you. They could just be someone at a level that you aspire to be at. You could learn not just, what, specifics about the industry that you are working in or you're interested in, but just teaching you how to be a better professional, teaching you how to, make yourself valuable to your team, whichever team you're working in, give you tips on how to interview. A lot of it is just how you present yourself. So I think establishing relationships with people who you think can definitely provide that mentorship for you, not just when you're starting out your career, but as you go through, and keep progressing, that they will be able to add value to your career. Definitely do that. And on the flip side, I think it's important to make sure that when people reach out to you for help, that you are equally proactive and do the same for others. Basically, uh, pass the good on, if you will. So I think that's really crucial, not just kind of looking to gain from others, but also being happy to give up your time and your expertise to other folks who are probably one semester after you or 1 year after you in the program, who will likely reach out to you, when you see that they're, in an industry that you think you can really add value to their life, or, things like that. Just be conscious of that and definitely look forward to kind of helping people, I would say.
Terrific. And what about you, Jason?
I want to emphasize like start early and be proactive. For me, it's like I always think, well, I can do that tomorrow. Like later on, it's like never reach out. Definitely, that's not some like a right concept. Like start early as early as possible. Like just attending different events like workshop, like seminar, be proactive and engaging with them. And also like usually like when I reflect back, most meaningful like relationship I form is like through questions. Like when I go through the case study questions, I will have like, why should I do that? Or why should I do there? Actually, we reach out, there's a consultant actually in the field. Like they kind of show us how they think about that problem. Like it's really helpful, like just go through that like step by step, and you when you have a tailored question to them. And also like I want to also mention is like it's a two-way street, as Cardi mentioned. Like it's not only the one way. So offer a system, maybe just sharing knowledge or providing resources, like just being proactive and think about like what are something you can like provide. So a lot of people are saying like I don't have too many resources. I'm only the student in school. But remember, you are in Columbia, like you have so many resources there. Like you can go to PeoplePro, you can go to Bloomberg. Those are really expensive if you are outside the school. So you have those data available to you, and you can be able to offer help to do research and do different things. And also like by offering helps, you can also engaging with them and understand like what are some that's really concerning them, and trying to understand the industry trends. And also join the professional clubs and association. There are so many different, like Premier, there's a one, also like MRA, there's a CFA, FRM. There are different society out there that host event regularly. Like there are so many resources out there. And also like seeking for mentorship and also be a mentor. Like I also learned so much. I'm also a mentor and also a mentee. I learned so many things from like being a mentor, like just seeing other people grow and see other people like develop is really rewarding. And also you can learn from other people as well. It's a great way to like engage the community and trying to like give back.
Yeah, absolutely. And I have also been a mentor and a mentee, and it really is a rewarding relationship. And when you go through that with somebody, those are lasting relationships. You get to know each other, I think, at a deeper level. And also using your groups. I've worked with a lot of the same people throughout my time here, and you get to know people and want to continue working with them even outside and when we've all graduated. So and second, the going to the industry associations and join your local chapter. Get to know the people in your area, go to the monthly lunches and, really get to know people on a more personal level. It doesn't always have to be about work and about risk. We're allowed to have a little fun. And with that, we're done with we've got about 10 minutes left. So I wanted to go to the questions from the audience. The first question is from Dr. Patty. Nice to see you on the call, Dr. Patty. So I'll just open it up to everybody. In addition to our courses, in what other ways can we, the faculty, prepare you to be and continue to be successful in your careers? So is there anything that the faculty can do to better prepare you?
I can take this. So
Sure.
I take a couple classes and I find it really interesting to learn about like case study. So like in strategy class, also external stakeholders, like in beginning of the class, we do have a mini case study, just share about like what's actually going on there. Like one time there's oil price, like why it's actually increased, like we kind of have a in-depth discussion about it. And at that time, during my time, it's COVID. So like we don't have the privilege to be meeting in person. So we have like kind of like a break room, like breakout room function or something. You go to the room and talk with people because it's kind of hard to engage with the entire class. Like if you just have like 30 people, it's kind of hard to talk in front of other people, especially for like introverted person. Like if you actually have a smaller group, like I find out it's really interesting to know other people in person and have like an interesting discussion about certain things because people come from different backgrounds. So I found that this is really interesting, and also just like 10 minutes discussion is kind of like also enforce us to like stay curious and try to understand, explore different things.
Yeah, and it's probably my law school background, but I appreciate the Socratic method. So instead of telling us the answers, help us to get there. I think that that's always like going through that struggle and really having to create that those neural pathways towards critical thinking. I think has been very effective to me in the various classes that I've taken. Leanne, Snow, either one of you want to add to that?
I think maybe I'll just reiterate kind of what was said. But I think that just bringing, I mean, as we mentioned, the faculty are kind of stalwarts in their industries. Just bringing their experience to the classroom, I think is super helpful for folks who are kind of aspiring to get there. I think that that has always been, at least I personally found it very interesting to kind of learn, what a operational risk manager in a financial institution, what their problem was today. So just speaking to your experience, to your real life experiences, I think that really helps students kind of develop areas of interest and also kind of ask questions perhaps and be more kind of curious about your area of work as faculty. And then I agree like with what was said on on helping us to kind of get there. I think that's super helpful across the board, just kind of guiding our thoughts into kind of to the right destination. But I think the case studies, as I mentioned earlier in the strategic risk class, was super helpful just for that reason, just as being able to talk through a new story of the day and kind of deliberate on why that was or how that was and what they could have done to avoid it. I think those were really helpful, things that I don't know whether that was really part of the class, but that's something the professor thought was interesting to do. So just bringing something like that to kick off the class for 10-15 minutes, super helpful, and kind of gets everybody into a collaborative and discussion mood. So I think that was helpful.
And that actually is a great segue to the next question. How has the ERM program helped you to stay informed about current trends and developments in your respective industries? Snow, did you want to take that one?
Sure. So when I was enrolling in the program, actually, I like what I mentioned earlier, that the program offers a lot of courses that I can choose and pick the ones that I along with my background. So I actually took some insurance related courses, such as insurance risk management and ERM modeling. The professors for these courses are all from the insurance industry. So throughout the semester, throughout the course, they definitely will share some insights about the industry, and they'll share some articles. So also, for example, as I'm currently teaching capstone course, and in every class session, I will share some insightful video with my class. Like this week, I just shared the video about what went wrong about SVB, the Silicon Valley Bank, what caused the collapse. And we had an very insightful discussion. So this kind of practice, in-class practice, will help students to keep up with the current news. And periodically, I will also, in our projects, especially for the capstone project, I will also update students with the information about our macroeconomic conditions, like that. Sometimes we will go over like GDP growth rate. I also yesterday shared with them an article just released by IMF, International Monetary Fund, about the economic outlook of worldwide. And I will also share with our students about we'll talk about inflation rate, we'll talk about interest rate, and we'll keep up with the decisions made by FOMC meetings by Federal Reserve. So all of these informations in our class will definitely help the students to prepare the information they need when going into the workplace.
Absolutely. We've got a couple of minutes left. We'll take one more question and then we'll see if we have any more time for any seconds. The question is, how big are the classes and when is the best moment to do an internship? And I know, Jason, you did an internship. I'm not sure if anybody else did, if you want to take that question.
Sure. So first, like the class is around like 30 people, like some could be like 60, I mean, it really depends on the class. Usually they show the class size there. And also like internship, I mean, I don't know if there are different constraints, just check with the international office if you're international students. But like for me, like if you cannot do an internship, you can also start a project. It doesn't have to be an internship, because if we just prepare our resume, there's a experience section, there's also a project section. So just trying to understand like what are something you're interested in, like you can explore different things. So never too late to start. So like if you don't start an internship, if you are to participate like seasonal internship, you can also like start a project or doing off season like hiring.
Yeah, thank you. Snow, Leanne, do you have anything to add on that one?
Just
Go for it, Snow.
I just want to answer the question about how big the class. It usually runs from 10 to 40. It depends on which class you're taking. Like for strategic communication, it usually the class size is smaller. And for capstone course, sometimes it goes to 40 students. Thank you.
Yeah, and I've had a similar, I think I have 8 in one of my classes, and I've had 60 when it was a super popular class. ESG, it was an awesome class. I suggest you take it. We're just right about time. With that, I think I pass it back to Josh.
We want to thank you for joining us this evening, and as our program director says, may your risk exposure always be in sync with your risk appetite. Thank you and have a good night.